The Grand Army of the Republic consisted of thousands of human clones, all moulded on the genetic template of the bounty hunter Jango Fett. Serving under their Jedi generals from the first battle on Geonosis, the Jedi learned to trust these clone troopers, without finding their purpose or source, until it was too late. Towards the end of the Clone War, the ARC Trooper 5s had discovered the true reason behind their creation, correctly accusing Chancellor Palpatine of being part of a plot that went far beyond the Separatists. But with nobody believing him, the Jedi Order were blinded by the Sith. Palpatine had been weaving his mastery of manipulation throughout his years as a politician and Sith, and his ascendancy to the role of Supreme Chancellor allowed him to exercise his powers for sufficient time to execute Contingency Order 66. The Order turned the clones upon the Jedi that they'd served under, wiping most of them out in a purge, and the survivors are left to wonder where it had all gone wrong for the Jedi. But what if the clones were force sensitive? Would the Jedi be able to train them? Could they have removed their inhibitor chips? As you're going to find out, the force sensitivity of these clones will have unimaginable consequences for the universe. With the Separatist droid army being pushed back on the grounds of Geonosis, Commander Pons was relaying orders on the bridge of a self-propelled heavy artillery turbo laser, as if fired at the retreating Separatist battleship. But as the ship began to fall to the floor, the repulsor lift engines from the craft inverted upon the planet's gravitational pull, and as it moved even faster to the floor, Pons instinctively reached out with his hands. To his shock, the free-falling hull of the ship hovered in the air, and retreating back to the sand-covered surface, he continued to stare at his hands in amazement as the battle passed by him. Failing to react to the screams of the Delta Squad, Pons soon found himself being blasted into the sky, before feeling waves of pain as he fell to the ground. Later in the battle, he awoke to the elite clone commando Fixer, and recalling what had happened, he advised him to speak to the Jedi. Pons left the medical center, and stumbling to the forward command post, he discussed his potential use of the Force with Mace Windu. The Master of the Order is highly skeptical, as he was sure that the Kaminoans would have reported this to Obi-Wan, but after the Separatists have made a full-scale retreat, Pons is taken back to the Jedi Temple. The Jedi healers and their Force detectors measure a low midichlorian count, normally associated with mild Force sensitives, so taking a secondary test in front of a testing screen, the Council regard the clone trooper as having potential for further Jedi training. Before testing any further clones, the Jedi decided to deploy Obi-Wan and Shakti to Kamino and investigate if the Kaminoans had been hiding something from them on the first visit. Arriving through the rain clouds in their new starfighters, the Jedi wisely split up, and leaving Master T to be given a guided tour of the newest batch of clones, Obi-Wan quietly scurried off to the military education complex, and more specifically, the clone embryo room. But standing in his way were a group of Kaminoan scientists, and the Jedi Master had to think quickly, as he could sense Master T and Lama Su walking on a bridge overlooking the room. Rather than resorting to violence, like Anakin would most likely have done, the Jedi Master spots a lever on the wall, and assuming it would cut off the power and therefore dim the lights, Obi-Wan slowly lowers it, but finds the room glowing red. The alarms start to blare around the complex, as the Jedi Master inadvertently activated a distress signal to the primary control tower, and the defense forces began to mobilize. With no other alternatives, Obi-Wan draws in one of the clone embryo DNA samples, and sprinting back to the ship, he found a confused Master T, who had been expecting their plan to be a lot quieter. Returning to Coruscant before they were found to be conspiring against the Kaminoans, the Jedi Master returned to the Jedi Temple, where they examined the DNA sample for midichlorians within the red blood cells. The results are shocking, as they showed exactly the same midichlorian count as the deceased Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, and they wondered if he was still alive. Whilst Yoda, Obi-Wan and Anakin, the latter of whom had finally returned from Naboo after a successful mission to protect Senator Amidala, began to investigate the Jedi Master, Mace Windu and Plo Koon walked to the medical station within the Republic military base. The clone medics had worked together with the medical droids to discover that all of the clone commanders and captains shared the same midichlorian count as Sifo Dyas and Commander Pons, but due to the nature of their creation, only a small percentage of his potential could actually be fulfilled. Nevertheless, the Jedi deem it necessary for the clones to undergo Jedi training, and delegating a group of Jedi Knights, Padawans and sometimes Initiates to enhance the connection of the clones to the Force. This sudden surge in Force abilities did not go unnoticed by the Sith. In the office of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, the Sith Lord peered out to the skies of Coruscant when he turned to face one of his guards, who were a part of Coruscant's elite clone squadron, and in walked the diminutive figure of Jedi Grandmaster Yoda. Hiding his disgust at the Jedi, the Chancellor was curious by the nature of the visit as he inquired about the disappearance of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. Palpatine shielded his concern at this loose end, and asking Yoda to speak to Chancellor Valorum instead. He observed Yoda as he left his office, and he took a second glance as he thought he saw his guard using the Force to close the door, then walking to his holoprojector to punish his apprentice. He saw a group of clones meditating outside. Taking his anger out on Dooku, he ordered him to correct his mistake, then head to Kamino to interrogate the Kaminoans, but leave them alive. The Sith apprentice cackled to himself as the hologram of his master faded away, and instructing his new apprentice Asajj Ventress to go to Kamino. Dooku had his own plans for dealing with the loose end on Obadiah. Taking a seat beside his FA-4 pilot droid, the Count of Sereno set the route to the home of the Pike Syndicate. Being beckoned to the extended line of prison cells by the Pike guards, he casually opened the door to Silman, who was one of the aides to Chancellor Valorum, being consumed by insanity. Igniting his lightsaber, Dooku brandished it in front of his own face, while preparing for a killing strike. He found his blade being pushed into the wall of the cell, with the two Jedi of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker arriving in time to confront the Sith apprentice. Silman pleaded with them to stop this violence, and mumbling about Dooku and Sifo Dyas, both sides now wanted him alive. The guards outside had heard the sound of blades igniting, and pointing their weapons at the three combatants, they closed the door to the cell, leaving them trapped. Anakin booted the wall of the cell in frustration, but Obi-Wan had assessed the situation and knew there was little point in killing Dooku, so continued his interrogation of Silman. Between himself and the Sith, neither were able to discern anything from the mutterings of the prisoner, and they turned to Anakin trying to rip apart a fallen set of cuffs to manufacture a way to unlock the door. Obi-Wan was amused at Anakin's attempts, and using the Force to disarm the mechanism outside the door, the shields flickered out, and Anakin quickly grabbed Silman, with Dooku distracted by the surrounding Pike guards. Rapidly ascending the ramp of their Corellian light freighter, the Jedi had managed to evade Dooku, but the Sith had other ideas, as he ordered his fleet and droid Commander General Grievous to change his position, and the Jedi are soon ambushed by the cyborg. Obi-Wan wants to try and formulate a plan to escape the inevitable capture, but Anakin decides to move the ship into an attack position as the Separatist tri-fighters and Vulture droids homed in on their location. The Jedi Master braced himself for another one of Anakin's dangerous space flights, and as the Jedi Knight weaved between the ships, one of the secondary engines began to burn brightly in the sky. Obi-Wan expressed his displeasure at Anakin's strategy, and as his Padawan blamed the age of the ship, they were soon prepared for another crash landing. Quickly dropping through the atmosphere of the planet of Kessel, Anakin was able to tilt the ship to a lesser angle, enabling him to skid to a halt by the edge of an abandoned mine. The Jedi are brought out from their crash recovery by the sound of their passenger, and it seemed that the landing had mitigated some of the insanity within Silman. Carefully listening to Valorum's aid, he revealed that Dooku had been the one responsible for the death of Sifo Dyas, but that his body had been rumoured to have been taken away for examination by a group of scientists on Geonosis. With their broken freighter, the Jedi have no chance of making it to the desert planet without the help of Republic forces, when Anakin spots a spy swine with his macro binoculars. Obi-Wan detests the idea of working with these spice traders, but Anakin surprisingly used his stealth to hide behind several containers of spice and pointed to the closest ship, which was also a Corellian freighter. Obi-Wan thought that they were about to board the ship to an unknown destination when Anakin gestured to R2-D2, who had somehow survived their crash landing, to enter the ship. Obi-Wan waited patiently for the astromech to return, and to his shock, he saw it dragging out the secondary engine that had broken on their ship. Lifting it into the air with the Force, the Jedi are quickly pursued by several angry Pike traitors, who the Jedi move away with the Force, not wishing to kill them. With great speed, R2-D2 repaired the ship, and before native reinforcements could arrive, the Jedi were heading back to Coruscant. On their journey, the Jedi receive a transmission from the Jedi Council listing all of the chaos that they had caused, but crucially, they now knew that the clone army did not belong to their order. asking them to return to their temple. The Jedi soon receive a disturbing development from their clone barracks. That is it for part 1 of what if clone troopers were force sensitive. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.